Hello!
Hey.
Welcome back to Hotpocalypse. We're so glad to see you.
Yes, it's good to be back, Andy.
Oh, Josh, it's wonderful to be back. And we're here to discuss why we're all doomed.
Yes.
But we're a little off-brand today, Josh.
That's right.
We're going a little off-kilter, and I feel like the universe is amiss because there's a lot of hope in this show.
There is. There's a lot of hope in this show.
So we want to apologize to our viewing audience. We know you tuned to us to hear about doom and gloom and how we're all screwed, but we can't do that today. We got good news.
No, we have significant good news.
Yeah. So bear with us on this unusual day when we might actually uplift you on Hotpocalypse.
Yes.
He's a comic who's chronically depressed and thinks we're doomed. He's a renowned climate scientist who crunched the numbers and knows we're doomed. Together, they're hoping to have a good time till it's over and tell you, we're all gonna die, we're all gonna die, we're all gonna die.
Hotpocalypse.
Apocalypse. Andy, one of the really awesome things we have today is a guest.
I'm told we have a wonderful guest.
An amazing guest, yes.
Yeah, we're excited about this one.
Isra Hirsi is with us today.
And tell us about Isra.
Isra is the lead for a youth movement who is striking regarding climate change.
So young people who are actually taking action to do something about this problem we created.
Yes.
Wow, that's nice of them to clean up our message.
It really is. I've got a lot of things to watch on Netflix, and the fact that they're out there doing it for us, man, I love it.
We sure do appreciate it. And that's really good news, that Isra's with us and that she's doing what she's doing. We can't wait to hear about the youth climate strike.
Right.
But before that, Josh, we got to hear some bad news.
We got to hear some bad news, right?
All right. Here's the reasons why we're all screwed this week.
Yes.
Here's an update. All right, so one thing that we've got going on, very, very terrible, climate conflict.
Yeah. So it turns out that research, actually there's some very recent research too, people have been studying this for about 10 or 15 years now, climate change causes war. Isn't that exciting?
It's like all four horsemen of the apocalypse are fit on one horse. It's very convenient.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah. So it turns out that scarcity of resources. The recent research doesn't really say it's a cause for war. Obviously, politics and culture clashes and so forth are big drivers for war, but in fact, climate exacerbates all that. So when the climate changes, you get scarcity of resources, people start migrating. So if you have a big farming community or a big agricultural community that suddenly can't grow crops anymore and can't feed themselves, then they tend to move. This causes conflict, and actually can in some cases cause resource wars.
Yeah. And we think that we might have seen this in Syria, for example, might be example where this is part of the brew of horrors there is it was initiated by a climate conflict.
Yeah, that's right. This drought that lasted for decades, it's like the longest drought in thousands of years, right there in the cradle of civilization, has driven people away from these kind of agrarian societies, these farming societies. People are moving into the city and ultimately fighting over resources. And that's not the direct cause of all the war there. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff going on, but it exacerbates the situation and it makes it worse. And there's a really strong correlation between climate change and violence on a very large scale.
I got busted once for exacerbating in gym in 8th grade. It was terrible. So I really feel for all these folks.
I'm surprised you can still get a job in.
I can't. You know what? We also want to emphasize, we have a very active comment section on being liberal.
Yes.
Who is kind enough to host this show. We appreciate it.
Please send us a comment. In case you didn't know, my name is Josh, and I am actually a climate scientist, and I study global warming for NASA.
Oh, for NASA, so not like for the post office
Not
or
for
something.
the post office.
Right.
They have global warming too, but I don't speak for NASA on this show, just so everybody knows. I'm speaking for me, but I work
and
for...
I speak for the Department of Agriculture. Don't know why.
Yeah, they needed a spokesperson, Andy. They really did.
Just so you know, on sides of your screen, Josh is the smart one. I'm the one who makes the dumb potty jokes, and together we make a show.
Yeah, exactly. Hotpocalypse.
And we want to encourage you to comment, question. If you have any questions about serious climate issues, this guy knows a lot about it.
And
if you have any questions about how to make a word dirtier than it actually is, I'm your guy.
A genius at that. It's amazing.
Stop. Oh, stop.
Yeah, no, really, it's remarkable.
Let's see, do we have any interesting stuff we want to talk to the audience about just yet?
Audience, where are you?
Audience, where are you? Oh, look at this.
Oh,
hi, guys
Clearwater.
from Clearwater, Florida.
Yes.
Well, hello,
Hi.
Clearwater.
Hey, how's it going in Clearwater? Is the water clear?
Clear.
Oh, wow.
I was trying to make a Scientology joke. Am I getting the right place there?
I don't know, but
But hello. We hope that
yes, welcome.
you're doing
Yes,
well.
yes.
And we want to welcome everybody, and we particularly want to welcome our awesome guest.
Yes, Isra Hirsi. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
We're having a really great time, and we are so happy that you're here with us. We understand that it's like a special day for you.
Yeah, it is.
Why is that?
Oh, it's my birthday today, actually. I turned 16.
Whoa! Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Isra. Happy birthday to you.
That was so on key.
Thank you.
Wow, we
Appreciate
really nailed
it.
that. You're welcome.
Thank you for being here on this magical day. We really appreciate it.
So, Isra, can you talk to us a little bit about what you're doing? What's going on March 15th?
Sure. So I'm helping organize a climate strike that is happening across the globe, but I'm helping organize it in the United States. And so that means students not going to school for an entire day to demand real climate action.
Wow.
Wow.
That is bold and really impressive.
Really impressive. When I was
Yeah.
your age, I was skipping school to smoke cigarettes. You are doing the opposite and cleaning things up. That's
I
remarkable.
can't even remember that far back, to be honest. That's incredible. So tell us, why strike? Why do you feel like this is sort of the best way to go?
Yeah, so we feel like striking is a demand and aggressive action to prove to our politicians and our legislators that we want something. And when you see thousands of students not attending school for one single issue, it really says something. And I feel like it's way more powerful than a basic rally after school or something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's incredibly moving to see youth caring about this issue. Because, I mean, you guys are inheriting this planet from us, and it's not in great shape.
It's a fixer-upper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully not a teardown.
Not a teardown.
Not a teardown, just a fixer-upper.
Isra, can you talk to us a little bit about why is this so important to you? Is this just a general awareness that the future is really going to be very challenging? Or is there a personal story that ties you to the climate movement? What inspires you?
Yeah, so I guess I would say, growing up with climate change my entire life and seeing all of these people being affected by it, I personally felt like I needed to do something after I saw Flint, Michigan, and the lead in their water. And then I started seeing it from where I am in my home state. I'm from Minnesota, and we have really aggressive snow right now, the polar vortex. I've had so many snow days in the past 2 weeks, and you're just like seeing everything happening right in front of my eyes. And it's really, really sad because there's so many people that are affected by it. And also it's just gotten so much more aggressive these past few years.
Yeah, it's interesting. You mentioned the polar vortex. We had a discussion about that recently, and it's kind of still going on. We're still having these big events where the jet stream's flopping around and going crazy, and cold places are warm and warm places are cold, and places like the Midwest are getting just dumped on in snow. We actually had snow here in Los Angeles yesterday.
Which is weird. Usually That's not the white powder that falls in Hollywood, but we had a lot of snow in Hollywood. It's crazy. Isra, can you tell us, what do you want your audience, or I guess not your audience, what do you want the American people to learn? What are the takeaways when they see on the news all these students walking out to protest climate change? Is there a specific message or a takeaway they should take from that?
Like what the climate strikes are advocating for? Sorry, you cut out.
Is there a bottom line what you're looking for? Are you advocating for the Green New Deal, or are you just trying to raise general awareness about what's going on with the climate?
Yeah, so it's both. We definitely are. One of our biggest asks is the Green New Deal. We believe that this Green New Deal is going to, I guess, not necessarily save us all, but it's a step in the right direction. And we also want even more aggressive climate action happening with our politicians so that real change can actually happen so that we don't end up dying.
Isra's too good at this.
I know.
Isra's too good at this. You take my spot, Isra.
Yeah,
Come here, take my spot.
Come on down. Right to the beginning.
That's a really great answer.
It really is. You know, it's interesting. This the Green New Deal feels to me. It's like it's sort of like Alcoholics Anonymous, right? The first step is admitting that you have a problem.
Oh.
And I feel like the Green New Deal is like us admitting, hey, we have a really big problem that we have to work on.
I keep waking up in my clothes from the night before. I've got to change my life around. No, I think that's it's a good point. This is not the final solution. This is a step forward, and Isra's part of that. Can we get? Are there any audience reactions or questions that we'd like to address at this point?
Yeah, chime in. Yeah,
Go Bernie.
Go Bernie with the little love sign.
Well, no. I want to talk about that real quick. Just
Yeah.
1 second. The Go Bernie thing that we just saw. Is there any? All these Democratic candidates right now are pretty much on the same, singing from the same page book on climate. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, you know, the Democrats are the party that admit climate change is real and that we should do something about it. You know, obviously it's a much bigger issue, and I think you have to have buy-in from both parties to make real progress on this. So. Yes, I think although all of them admit that it's real, the approaches on how to address it are going to be different.
Vastly different.
Vastly different. Yeah.
And is your event tailored around any sort of political point of view? Do you have a candidate you support, or is this a general cry for help from the young people of America?
Yeah, so I guess the climate strikes, we're not necessarily like supporting any candidates or supporting any specific person, but in reality, in all honesty, we're just really making that cry out and really demanding that everybody, especially the presidential candidates, make a real stand against climate change. Not just the Green New Deal, but even more, because once you have them on the Green New Deal, it's the next step on what they're going to do as the president of the United States.
Yeah, that's wow. You really should be doing this show instead of us.
You're a pundit in the making if this activism stuff doesn't work out for you. That's really a wonderful answer. So let's ask you this, Isra. By the way, we're seeing love seeing young people involved.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, it's really inspiring to me too. I think young people really get it. It's all of us old fogies who are having trouble with the idea of climate change and that we have to do something about it. And what's really amazing is to hear you guys speak up about it. It's inspiring, and it's also a reminder that we're kind of dropping the ball.
I also want to ask you, is there anything that you want to tell folks about how they can sign up? How can people become involved in this strike? I assume you have to be a student in order to participate.
Yeah, so right now we have an amazing website, youthclimatestrikeus.org. And when you go to our website and you go to the strike part of the website, we have a map with all of the states that we have so far involved. And you can just click your state and contact that person that is running that state to get involved. And if your state isn't on there, then all you have to do is email and we can totally get your state up there as soon as possible. So it's really easy, really quick, and we want everybody to be able to participate.
That's awesome. Tell us the website name one more time.
Yeah, it's youthclimatestrikeus.org.
Now give us that website 3 times again quickly.
Sure. youthclimatestrikeus.org, youthclimatestrikeus.org, and again, youthclimatestrikeus.org.
Yes.
You're the numbers guy, but that seemed right to me.
I think
seemed,
it was
that
right.
seemed right to me.
Yes.
You know,
Isra.
Isra, this is really great. We are huge fans of what you're doing. We're going to continue to plug it until it happens. And thank you so much for everything that you're doing.
Yeah, and again, if you're out there in the audience, send us a comment. Let us know what you're thinking, and we'll try to talk to it on the air.
Yes. And Isra, happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday, Isra.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Are you doing anything fun and exciting for your birthday today?
No, nothing specific. Just, organizing for that climate strike. So.
Man. Dedication. Dedication.
Wow.
It's so impressive.
Well, we're super honored to have you here. Yeah.
Thank you, Isra.
Yes.
Godspeed. Thank you very much. Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I feel like, Josh, we're sort of on this positivity train today, which is weird. I feel
know.
weird. I feel out of sorts.
Yeah, a little gross, kind of, maybe.
Yeah. Like we should
It
be.
doesn't sit right with me.
But let's keep the train rolling.
I think
let's
we
keep
should.
the positivity train
We should.
rolling.
You know what's next, Andy?
What's next on our running order of events?
FOMO.
FOMO.
Do you know what FOMO is, Andy?
I'm not a scientist. I don't know what FOMO is.
Well, it is an abbreviation, also known as an acronym. FOMO, it stands for fear of missing out.
Climate FOMO.
Yes.
Things that people are doing across the globe that we're not doing here and we should.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what we're missing out on.
You know what we're missing out on?
Do tell.
China and India. We're missing out on China and India. And it's funny because China and India are often held up as like the bad guys of climate change.
Right,
because they're
right, I
emitting
hear
all
that
this
a lot.
carbon and so forth. But a very recent study found out that China and India are turning greener. And not in like the metaphorical sense, they are literally becoming greener because they are reforesting, they're growing more plants and crops, and you can literally see the green leaves from space.
Now, Josh, I'm going to stop you on this because I'm going to ask, what the hell do you know about satellite and satellites imagery?
Well, I work for NASA. That's my day job. I'm not a spokesperson for NASA, and I'm not speaking for NASA right now.
Sure.
All right, just get that straight. But yes, I do study global warming.
And you work with satellites.
I do. I work with satellites. In fact, the satellites I use look at the oceans, but these satellites look back at the land and they measure how green it is. And they've been watching India and China turn greener and greener and greener every year for like the last 2 or 3 decades.
It's so cool. It's so cool. And we don't really think about China and India as being progressive in this sense, but they're ahead on solar power. They're ahead on reforestation. They're beating us on a lot of beating us to the punch on a lot of these important steps.
Yeah, just in terms of investing, I think it was what was it, like $100 billion that China put into renewables or is putting into renewables over the next decade or so. So they're spending a lot of change on it, and apparently they're spending so much change on it, you can see it from space.
Wow. Hey, China, Sheshen Ni. That means thank you.
Wow.
That's the only Chinese I know.
job.
Don't press me any further. We also have really good news coming out of Europe. Germany and France have collaborated on a project to increase battery life and sort of the health of batteries in the energy ecosystem. And they're spending billions of dollars on it.
Yeah, I mean, batteries are eventually, if they get good enough, can make your car go 2 or 3 or 400 miles, right?
And Josh, if you could just help us understand, why is that desirable? Something's still got to put energy into that battery. Why is that preferable to just burning fossil fuels?
Well, the thing about batteries is that, and the thing about power generation is that we tend to generate more power than we need. And so we're always generating this extra power because you just can't turn off a power plant. You can cycle it down and cycle it up, but it takes time.
Control-Alt-Delete,
right?
do all
Exactly.
these things.
Yeah, you have to reboot it sometimes. And we're always kind of generating this excess power to meet demand. They try not to waste it, but a significant amount of power is actually wasted.
I did not know that.
Because we're always generating, and the demand is not always equal to the supply. So batteries give us a chance to store the extra energy and then use it later when we need it.
And I suppose you can also repurpose that energy. In other words, it doesn't have to be fed by, say, a coal plant. It can be fed by healthy solar panels or a nuclear plant or other renewables.
Yeah, there's all sorts of ways to generate it. And then once you've got it stored in the battery, then you have all kinds of time to use it for all different purposes.
Any purpose you want. We will not judge you for why you're using your electricity.
No judgment on this show.
Only pleasure. And we have another reason to feel really good this week. We're kind of sending you off on a good note on this whole week. It's you're welcome, guys. There has been in Finland,
right?
They have invested in the universal basic income. And this is another, along with things like solar cells and battery power, this is another future-oriented technology of sorts, in the sense that it's a way to distribute income that meets everyone's needs in a society at the same time. Crazy, right? Yeah. And Finland has tried this.
They're giving people money.
They're giving away money to anybody. Just because you're a human being and a citizen of their nation, they're giving you money. And it's working.
Yes. You know why? What's working about it?
What's working about it?
Of all, it makes people happy.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, right.
That free money makes people happy.
Free money makes people. Turns out.
And it is a little bit more, I mean, free money makes people happy, of course, but like it is a little bit more complicated than that, right? Like it's a bunch of different factors that they take into account of how people are living their lives, if they can care for their families, if they can take care of their children, if they can secure a future for themselves.
That's right.
Then those sorts of things go into the statistic of happiness. And that's what Finland is measuring, is that universal basic income creates better family structures.
Yeah.
It helps people live lives in the way that we want to live our lives.
Reduces stress, reduces anxiety. Yeah. Generally, it's just more fun.
So what we're saying is our Vimeo account is open right now.
Yes.
You can send us free money anytime you like. That's not true. That's not true.
But we really should open a Vimeo account.
We should open a Vimeo, Patreon, something like that.
Yes.
Hey, we've got some audience information rolling in. Let's speak to our audience.
Who's out there? What's going on, peeps?
What should be next is
shaving those sideburns. Wow. Oh.
Hey.
Oh.
No way, dude. Over my dead body. These sideburns
I'll have you know that these sideburns do serve a very important purpose, because they allow me to do my character of Climate Elvis, which you can go Google right now.
He's not joking.
I'm not joking.
That is a cool thing that Josh does. He's not your usual climate scientist.
In fact, when I was in Greenland last week, I performed as Climate Elvis. And I found out yesterday that Climate Elvis made the Greenland national news.
Get out.
These sideburns ain't going nowhere, buddy.
Wow, it's nice to be here with a celebrity. The words, when I was in Greenland last week performing Climate Elvis, I think that's the first time those words were ever spoken in succession in the history of the English language.
They were sort of shocked that Climate Elvis was there. It was neat. There were lots of some of the older ladies taking secret selfies with me from the car. It was fun. Yes, I was very.
Climate stud.
Yeah. So Green New Deal wants to. This is from one of our Facebook users. Green New Deal wants to give free things to people who are unwilling to work.
You're thinking of universal basic income,
That's
sir.
right. Yeah. In fact, as Greenland just proved. As Finland just proved.
Yes.
As Finland just proved. Maybe that's not such a bad thing.
Maybe we should look into that a little bit more. There is that notion that there's something sort of socialistic-y about fighting climate change, and the way I'd like to do it there is, but this isn't necessarily just an economic argument. This is an argument about much more than that. And I guess I'm saying that to this fine person asking that question, I think that that is part of the picture, is we need to redistribute wealth in a way that makes sense to a forward-looking future.
Yeah, I mean, in a very real sense, the climate, the changes in the climate have been caused and paid for and created by the very wealthy in a very large disproportionate amount. And the impacts are borne out by the very poor in a very disproportionate amount. So part of dealing with climate change and its impacts is probably going to be looking at how we distribute wealth in our society. And make no mistake, the government is distributing wealth in the society. It's just that right now, the structure that we have tends to send money upward, more toward the rich instead of downward. But there is still redistribution of wealth even today.
Well said, my friend. Well said. And I think that piece of it gets lost, is that this isn't a fair system that we're breaking up. It's an unfair system that we want to change.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, people get scared when you talk about redistribution of wealth, but they forget we're already doing it.
Yeah.
We're just kind of doing it in the wrong direction. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah, that's a very good 2 cents. You kind of blew my mind, Joshua. So these comments, of course, are coming in from the Being Liberal Facebook page, which I think a lot of you are seeing us on. Feel free to leave comments, questions. We're going to try and get to them before the end of the show, which is approaching.
Yes, right.
But we will also try and address some of them after the show with some text comments, old-fashioned style.
Yeah, please talk to us and let us know how we're doing. Let us know what you want to hear about, and comment on the Facebook page, because a lot of the fun of doing this show is that people are out there actually listening to it in real time and making fun of my sideburns, Andy.
Yeah. We love trolls. Trolls are fun. I guess I want to say one more thing about that last comment, is that we heard from a guest last week who was talking about the Green New Deal as being an intersectional. Things got real heated in here. That's some climate change.
Yeah.
Intersectional document, in that it combines sort of climate justice with social justice, with economic justice, with racial justice, with a lot of these different things that are sort of combining to form this blob of problems that need to be addressed.
Yeah, it's a big hairy mess, and it needs a big hairy solution.
A big hairy green solution,
yes,
which was my nickname in high school.
With lots of sideburns.
Yeah, buddy, you know what's up. You know what's up. Josh, I feel like we're almost out of good news, and I feel like we should kind of leave it there, because this is a hopeful episode.
That's right. It is a hopeful episode. Next week, we can be back and shatter all your dreams again.
Oh, it's going to be horrible. Take your Zoloft now, people.
Yes.
Ramp up your serotonin reuptake inhibitors, because we will depress you again next week.
Yeah, that's right. And in the meantime, comment to us, talk to us, and take it easy out there.
Yeah, and if you can, follow, comment, but specifically find us on Facebook, Twitter. I think we're on LinkedIn. I don't know. We're everywhere. SoundCloud. Find us and follow us, because we will be spitting bad news in your ear until we all die.
There's even an old school webpage, right?
Oh, yeah.
Hotpocalypse.com.
One of those URLs that my grandchildren will know about.
Yeah.
Yes. Hey, we love you very much, and we thank you for being here every week. We really enjoy talking to you.
Yeah, thanks a lot. And until next time.
Happy birthday, Isra.
Yes.